If you've tried tracking calories, cutting carbs, intermittent fasting, or just eating less, and none of it stuck, I'm going to tell you something right now that your last 5 attempts didn't. It's not you, it's the method. There are four real ways to reduce your calories for fat loss, and they don't all work the same for every person. I'm going to walk you through each one, and by the end, you'll know exactly which one to run with. If you appreciate me making this type of content, let me know by gently tapping that like button. All right, let's jump right into it. Now, before we get into the four methods, I need to say something that the fitness industry does not want to make simple because simple just doesn't sell supplements. Fat loss comes down to one thing, and that's burning more calories than you take in. That's it. Every single method we're about to talk about works because of that one principle. The reason people fail is because they picked a bad method. It's because they picked a method that doesn't fit how they actually live. So let's fix that right now. All right, method one, calorie restriction. This is by far the OG of all of the methods listed. The most straightforward approach out there. You figure out how many calories your body needs to maintain your current weight, and then you eat less than that number every single day. Most people start with a deficit around 250 to 500 calories per day, which puts you on track to lose roughly half a pound to a pound per week without feeling like you're starving yourself. The beauty of calorie restriction is that nothing is off limits. You can eat the foods you love. You just have to be aware of how much. The real challenge here, you have to track. And for some people, pulling out their phone to log every meal gets old real fast. On top of weighing your food, this can also become tedious and cumbersome. If you're someone who loves data and structure, this one is going to feel like home. If tracking makes you anxious or obsessive, keep listening. Next is method two, intermittent fasting. Now, this one has a lot of people either fired up or completely confused. So let's see if we can make it and keep it simple. Intermittent fasting is not about what you eat, it's more about when you eat. The method most people use is the 16-8 method, where you fast for 16 hours and eat all of your meals inside of an 8-hour window. So, if you stop eating at 8 p.m., you don't eat again until noon the next day. What makes this work for fat loss is that by shortening your eating window, most people naturally eat less overall without ever counting a single calorie. No weighing, no measuring, and no apps. Honestly, a lot of people love this method because it feels like freedom, because there's no food logging or obsessing over every bite. The downside is that some people feel foggy or irritable during the fasting window, aka hangry, especially in the beginning. If you're someone who wakes up hungry and cannot function without breakfast, intermittent fasting might be a rough start. But if you're not a breakfast person anyway, this could be the easiest method you've ever tried. Method three, keto. All right, let's talk about the one that everyone has an opinion on. Keto is a high fat, very low carbohydrate diet that shifts your body into a state called ketosis, where instead of burning carbs for energy, your body starts burning fat instead. And yes, it does work. When you cut carbs down to around 20 to 50 grams per day, your insulin levels drop, your body dips into fat stores, and the weight starts falling off. A lot of people also report feeling less hungry on keto because fat and protein are really satisfying. Here's the honest truth though, keto is a lifestyle commitment. No bread, no pasta, no rice, very limited fruit. For some people, that sounds totally fine. For others, myself included, that sounds like torture. If you love carbs and they're a big part of your cultural food traditions, keto is going to feel like a constant battle. That battle is what makes people quit, not a lack of willpower. Quick break. If you're finding this helpful and you want a simple starting point for your own fat loss journey, drop a comment below telling me which method you're leaning towards or which one you're currently using. I read every single comment and I'll point you in the right direction personally. Now, let's get to the last one. Method 4, zero carb. This one is the most extreme version of low carb eating, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You eliminate carbohydrates almost entirely and eat primarily meat, fish, eggs, and animal based foods. Zero carb takes keto to its further point, and people who do it often report incredible results. They notice rapid fat loss and reduced inflammation, all because of simplified eating, because the food list is so very short. The real challenge here is that it is obviously very restrictive. Eating out becomes a complicated nightmare. Social situations can get awkward for some people. Cutting out all plant based foods long term raises questions they'll want to research carefully. It's highly recommended that you check with a doctor before using this method or even keto. Zero carb works, but it works best for people who genuinely thrive on simplicity and don't mind eating the same types of meals consistently. So, here's how you pick. Ask yourself the only important question: what does my current life actually look like? If your life is structured and tracking calories doesn't cause you anxiety, start with calorie restriction. If you're not a breakfast person and you want freedom around your other meals and food choices, intermittent fasting is more likely your way to go. If carbs genuinely don't feel like a big deal to cut and you want faster results, give keto a real shot. And if you want the most stripped down, no decisions approach possible, zero carb might be your answer. At the end of the day, the best method is not the one with the most science behind it or the one that's most popular or the latest trend. It's the one you will and can actually do consistently, not for a day or so, but for more than 3 weeks. Giving it time and maintaining consistency beat the perfect plan every single time. And if you want to go deeper on how to actually stick to whichever method you pick, the mindset, the habits, the stuff that makes it last, I made a video on exactly that. You can check it out by clicking right here. See you next time.